Hi everyone, I'm Barrett Peterson, Mayor of Franklin Park, and this is Franklin Park Volume 4. Today we're concluding our look at the old Franklin Park Police Station that is being replaced. If you remember in Volume 3, we took you on a tour through the old station to try to show you why it had to be replaced. We took you through the facility, including condemned areas.
All right, folks, we're in a place where we're not supposed to be right now. Barrett, this is an interview room. As I understand, it's condemned.
Yes, it's been condemned, and it is an interview room.
How long has it been condemned?
For probably about a year and a half maybe. Asbestos-plagued areas.
Just little things like right now we're standing on a floor that has tiles on it, and we're showing you a shot of what happens when you pick the tiles up. It's all asbestos underneath.
That's correct. The engineers indicate that when you pull these tiles up, what you're going to do is you're going to experience a release of asbestos, even into the jail cell, to show you what we were up against. This cell is not compliant with state law and would have had to have been completely renovated.
I must say I'm stunned. It is absolutely disgusting.
It wasn't engineered, it wasn't designed, The portion that bothered Bill the most was the old courtroom, because we had business there 25 years ago, and he was shocked at how it had deteriorated. He's still teasing me about something he noticed while editing the program that he didn't notice during the interview. While we were talking, there was a fairly loud creak that caused me a moment of concern. Watch and listen carefully.
So you can't even use 40% of it.
That's correct. Some of our interview rooms in the police area are unusable.
I'm telling you, folks, seriously, you really should
watch and listen again. That's correct. Some of our interview rooms in the police area are unusable.
I'm telling you, folks, seriously,
Bill is still teasing me about flinching, and it's easy for him to be brave because he hadn't seen the engineering reports and he hadn't seen the OSHA condemnation papers indicating this portion of the building was structurally unsound. I had. In any event, it turned out fine, but Bill still wanted to know more about the structural problems with the building, and he wanted to hear it from an engineer. Bill likes to understand things thoroughly, so I arranged for him to talk with Dave Talbot, one of our village engineers.
Mayor Peterson, good to his word, did in fact make the village engineer available to us because I had more questions about the structural integrity of this building before it gets taken down. And if I don't miss my guess, it's not going to be long, it's going to be taken down.
I would imagine, yeah, after the new facility gets built and they move into it, next thing we do is look at taking this building down.
Tell the folks who you are.
My name's Dave Talbot, village engineer in Franklin Park.
Okay, so we've got a real engineer on hand here. So the first question I've got to ask you, you already watched the DVD that Barrett and I did together. Did we say it all right?
Yes, it appears that he did say it all right.
But you could have done the math, right?
I could have done the math.
And believe me, we couldn't have done the math, that's for darn sure. Okay, couple of quick things. We just spent some time out here, and I want to make sure we give the fellow credit. What was the fellow's name that helped us with the ladder?
Ignacio is one of our maintenance workers, helped us with the ladder.
I want to thank him for doing that. And what I was trying to do, folks, because this is very hard to show on television, when you look at the building, as I made the point before, when you drive by, it kind of seems fine to me. And that was one of the first things I went to Barrett about and said, Barrett, that building looks fine. Well, when you start looking closer, or you look at it with an engineer's eye, it's not fine, because the building above, how can I say, what did you call that part?
The parapet walls.
Parapet walls. This is the part of the building that's above the windows, and it is bulged. So we put a straight edge against it. Believe me, it wasn't built that way. It's supposed to be straight.
It should be straight, yes.
Okay, and they don't get unstraight for no reason.
No, it's damage from water, from the roof structure leaking and coming down. And you see the lintels above all the windows are all rusted, and that's where it's bulging.
I would imagine, because as I understand this, and again, please, that's why I need all the help I can get, but I would imagine there's got to be a tremendous amount of water weight up in that roof all the time. I don't mean when it's raining, I mean just all the time.
No, there is a significant amount of water in certain portions of the roof, yes.
Which I would think would contribute to that bulging.
Well, the biggest thing with the bulging is water gets in there and then freezes and thaws.
Okay. I didn't think of that part. All right.
It pushes them out more readily than the weight of the water. The weight of the water you worry about in the middle of the roof section, where you exceed the load-bearing capacity of the roof.
Okay, so if I understand this correctly, two things. And first of all, please, this is not criticism of anybody else or any work that was done before. I'm sure they did the best they had with what they could. This is not the way we would build a roof like this today with the materials we have today.
Well, we would use different materials today. I mean, the flat roof structure is similar. The design is similar, but materials would be different. That roof has a fiber insulation board in it. We use a foam board nowadays.
And the fiber insulation will absorb water.
Yes, it will. Readily.
I can't
absorb
imagine
water.
when you pull that down how heavy that stuff's going to be.
It's very heavy. When Department of Labor come in and close the courtroom area, they estimated 12,000 to 17,000 pounds of weight above the courtroom.
Yeah, I was a little concerned in there because, again, I know a little something. My engineering work is not in buildings, but I understand structures, and I understand, boy, you start putting that kind of weight. It was never designed for that kind of load, and it is something you start getting concerned about. Second thing, if it had been maintained, and this is a tricky question. We can easily say if it had been maintained, it wouldn't have happened. But the fact of the matter is, a roof like that, with what you showed me, the pictures that you showed me, because you guys had a whole study done on this thing, what a Herculean task to maintain it. You'd have to be up there almost on a weekly basis cleaning leaves out of drains, and I mean, is it even possible?
Well, you can maintain the roof. It's some routine maintenance of cleaning the leaves off the roof drains and all that, but the built-up roof only lasts so long, and it needs to be replaced, and if you let it go on, then you just continue to get more and more damage, and potentially if the roof had been replaced much earlier, we wouldn't have the extensive damage we have right now.
We're talking about a $500,000 repair. That's a lot of money.
Well, and that's what prompted to look at the entire facility as opposed just the roof itself, was when we had a roofing consultant analyze what was going on with the roof and what repairs needed to be done, and we were faced with a $250,000 to $500,000 bill to repair the roof, and
that presumes something else that I'm a little, maybe I'm more suspicious of it than you are, because you're looking at that area above the window line, and I'm looking at the area below the window line. That's assuming that's all sound.
Well, that's correct. You really won't know the
condition.
I'm not,
yeah.
You don't know that condition. I mean, that's why it's such a wide range of $250,000 range of the repairs. You don't know how much structural repair you have to do until you tear that roof membrane off and the insulation off. So that's what prompted looking at the condition of the entire facility, not just the roof, but what's the building's life, its serviceability.
Well, that's it. Let me add real quickly. If this was built sometime in the 40s, we are talking about 60 years, at least 60 years old?
Correct.
That's not bad for service life on a building.
No, it's served its purpose,
yeah.
and the way it's laid out now, it's outlived its usefulness as far as a modern police facility. It doesn't meet the standards by today's.
Sure, so it doesn't mean somebody did something terrible back then. It just means that things have changed. Yeah, sure. All right, is there anything that I've missed? Because, you know, what I'm kind of waiting for now, folks, we don't know if it's going to happen or not. I grabbed him out here. I said, I've got to get you out here right away because it's supposed to rain like crazy later. And if it does, I'd like to get some of the shots inside the building with the rain coming in.
Yeah.
So whether it rains or not, I don't know.
Okay,
well, but if it does, yeah, good, thank you. I appreciate it. Anyhow, Dave, I want to thank you for coming out and helping us understand this. And if something else comes to mind, please let me know. Again, my job, what I'm trying to do is trying to help the public understand why we really needed a new police station. And by the way, I've taken a couple of quick peeks at it. It's beautiful. I think everybody's going to be proud of it.
The predicted rain never really developed, but Bill was more than satisfied with Dave's explanation of the serious structural problems with the old building. He said he found my flinching during the interview when I heard the creak the most compelling evidence. After all, he reasoned, if someone who had been intimately involved with the engineers, OSHA, and companies submitting bids to do the possible repairs was nervous about the structure, there had to be something to be worried about. And there is, and we certainly wouldn't have proceeded, in this economy at least, if we had any other viable options. Sometimes you just have to take the bull by the horns and do what needs to be done. Hopefully, the next time we talk about the police station, it will be during the ribbon cutting ceremony introducing Franklin Park's new facility. Before we leave this subject, let's check out a little of the demolition of the buildings being removed to make room for the new police station scheduled for completion during the summer of 2013. We're very proud of the careful and economic way the old buildings were removed. Dust and disruption was kept to a minimum, and most of the materials were recycled. Now, there are many other things going on in Franklin Park, and we're way behind bringing you those stories. Bill's been dealing with some serious health problems, and they've slowed him down considerably. Let's take a few minutes to talk about the EV charging stations that are popping up around Franklin Park. EV charging stations will probably be a part of our future, and we've got to be ready for that. So let's check out the EV charging station in the Franklin Park Village Hall parking lot.
You know, it never ceases to amaze me how the world is changing and how it continues to change more rapidly than I can even imagine. You have to understand, when I went to high school, computers hadn't been invented. This is all new to me.
Well, that was a long, long time ago, Bill.
Thank you. I knew he'd do that to me. In any event, what we are standing in front of is a place to plug in electric vehicles. Now, who would have ever thought? And when I first saw it, I thought to myself, well, okay, I know Barrett's into that because you are
Interested in sustainable practices.
yes, and green ecology and all this sort of thing.
Yes.
Yeah, and I know you are. And I says, okay, I can kind of understand that. But during a conversation, you said that they have these plug-in devices over by the metro station also,
That's correct.
and they're being used.
That's correct.
So you're not the only one.
2 or 3 days after we installed them, both of them were filled.
Seriously.
Seriously.
Okay, is there a way of keeping track of just how much usage there is and all that sort of thing?
Yes, they're going to be connected to an infrastructure, a grid, so people will be able to actually sign up ahead of time and secure it. In other words, reserve it. So if they're driving someplace and they want to be able to reserve it, they can reserve it ahead of time.
Okay, as we were setting up for this interview and I was taking pictures of the signs that are here and all that, I noticed that the signs are different. One is for electric vehicles only, one is for hybrid vehicles only. They don't use the same plug-in?
Hybrid vehicles are, up until now, have not been plug-in, although they are creating hybrid vehicles now that are plug-in. Overseas, they've had them for quite a while.
Sure.
But the oil industry was against allowing them to be plugged in, so wouldn't allow them to be plugged in.
Oh, really?
And so the hybrid that you see, that Bill and I can see over on our right is
yeah, that
mine.
I tease him about.
It does not plug in, but some hybrids will. This space and this space right next below us are for electric vehicles, and
like the Leaf?
correct.
Okay.
And the Volt.
Okay, the Volt also?
And the Ford just came out with one.
Okay.
And then this sign behind us, reserved parking electric vehicles, and then that one over there is for hybrid vehicles. So we want to give preferential treatment to those people who are using less resources and making us less dependent on military forces over in the Middle East.
Okay. All of that part of the story was interesting, and it kind of made me think. I said, boy, you really, you know, if you're going to be mayor of a town, there's a lot of things you have to think about. It's not just like I used to think when I was, I bought my house when I was 21. I thought the mayor's job was getting the garbage picked up and plowing the snow.
Yes, it's a lot more difficult than that. And you wanted to know where I found out about these charging stations.
That's what
we're getting to it.
That's what we're getting to.
Okay.
So I said to Barrett, I says, Barrett, how about the cost of this? Sometimes when you talk to people like Barrett who are really into this, I sometimes get the idea that maybe they think electricity is free, it doesn't come from somewhere. Not only that, the electrical charging station, just like putting up a gas station, costs money and all that. Then come to find out, well, you tell the story because I'll screw it up.
Okay, well, the charging stations you see behind Bill were paid for by a grant from the state. And so I think the village's total share for this charging station, that charging station, and 2 over at the metro station was, I think, between $2,500 and $3,500.
Almost nothing, almost pocket change, because the real
That's
cost of
correct.
those has to be thousands.
That's correct.
Okay, the question is, how did you know about that?
Well, I'm part of a monthly call-in to the Chicago Area Clean Cities Coalition that talks about electric vehicles on a monthly basis.
You know, it's funny, we've talked about this on the show before, that Barrett and I are kind of an odd couple, because
but we're both passionate about our fields.
that is what we share, is we share a passion that I'm into gears and wheels and pistons and things like that, and nobody has to twist my arm to read a book about it or find out new information, because these things are what make me go. That's what I'm interested in. I've watched you work over the plans for the new
Elgin
entrance.
O'Hare Western
Yes,
Access.
yes, and you are passionate about these things. Nobody has to force you to.
Municipal government, Bill, is really exciting. Every day it's different, and there are so many new developments that are making it possible
say
for
that
us.
one more time.
Municipal government.
No, you're killing me.
exciting.
You're just not.
I
it's
love
not the
it.
least bit exciting.
Well, it is to me.
Okay, and that's the important
Yes,
thing.
it is,
And
yeah.
I think what the important thing is, and I've tried to make this point so many times, we all need each other.
Yes.
We need the people that are constantly trying to make engines work better and vehicles work better.
My
And-
wife
and-
is a specialist in seating and positioning people in wheelchairs,
Okay.
which would do nothing for either one of us because she's looking for pressure sores and contact points in the body. You and I wouldn't be interested in that, just as many people are
But I'm
interested
glad
in plumbing.
somebody is.
An electrician, yeah.
But I'm glad somebody is. We need each other. I am just surprised that something like this, first of all, I couldn't imagine how you came across it, and then how you found out there was a great deal, that it was almost free.
We got probably $8,000 to $10,000 from the state of Illinois. I can't remember what the exact number was, but we were one of the only municipalities to get it on the first round, and we got ours in way ahead of time, and it was according to all of the terms that they required.
Well, it's great, and you've got we can't talk about the other one you're working on? You mentioned it a couple days ago.
Which one was that?
Oh,
Give me
a
hint.
large grant.
Oh, large grant. The $42 million for Taft Avenue. Oh
Yeah.
no, Taft Avenue is that's something.
Is that a done deal? We can say that?
That's a done deal. Taft Avenue is going to be rebuilt from Franklin Avenue over to Irving, so that if you're in that area around a County Line Road, you don't have to go to York or Manheim to get over to O'Hare Airport. You're going to be able to take a bridge right over. It's about a $42 million project, and it's going to be paid for within the Elgin O'Hare Western Access project.
So it means it's not coming out of Franklin Park taxpayers' pockets.
That's right, and Franklin Park doesn't have to spend a whole lot of time and energy now lobbying the federal government for the Tiger grant that we're hoping to get.
It is, like I say, I've worked with you now for a while, and I can see you have the kind of passion for your work that I have for my work, and it's really, really good that we've got you going for this kind of a thing here. I don't know if this is going to be the future. No one does, but we darn well
It's part of it.
We better be prepared.
It's part of it. Compressed natural gas vehicles are going to be part of the future also.
Or what I like, hydrogen.
Well, that's more like 15 or 20 years
You
off.
think it's that far?
The people who are working in that industry
yeah.
tell us it's going to be that far, so
Yeah,
it'll be a part of it.
Ultimately,
but
it's what I like.
and you know what? If we have it 15 or 20 years from now, that's fine.
Right.
Because we're going to be using electric vehicles, compressed natural gas. Gasoline is going to be with us for a long, long, long time. It's going to be another 50 or 60 years before we start dramatically decreasing our use of gasoline. What we want to do is reduce our dependency on Middle East oil.
On Middle East oil.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you something. Believe me, Barrett and I could do a couple of hours about this, because I've got some ideas too that I'd like to throw his way, because he's a guy that can, as you can see, he can actually get them done. But right now, I just wanted you to know about this. So we've got right here in the Village Hall. Am I saying it right? Village Hall. And at the Metro Station.
Bill likes to call it City Hall, but it's
yes.
Village Hall.
And at the Metro
And
Station.
at the Metro Station.
And
Walgreens.
And
Savers over at the Savers Big Lots parking lot, the old Kmart. They're going to put a electric vehicle charging station.
so people don't have to be fearful about maybe going in that direction for the next car purchase.
Oh no! Not only that, but the Electric Volt has a 10-gallon gas generator, So you can drive 300 miles on a Chevy Volt without any problem.
Without any problem. Anyhow, it's cold and damp out here right now, but I just thought this story was interesting enough that I dragged him outside. He's probably freezing because I'm a little cold with a leather coat on, and I wanted you to hear this part of the story, and you're going to hear more of it as we go along.
Yeah. Well, Bill was a little surprised to learn my Prius does not have plug-in capability. He didn't say it, but I think he was a little suspicious that I wanted the EV charging station for my own use. Bill keeps an eye on me and isn't afraid to speak up, and that's good. Those of us who choose public service for careers should welcome inquiry as we do. It gives us a chance to explain what we're working to accomplish and gives us a better idea of what's on the public's mind. And that brings us to our next subject, the newly repaved streets south of Grand and east of the Jack B. Williams retention basin. As always, Bill wanted to know where the money came from.
There are so many stories going on in Franklin Park that I'm trying to bring them to you as fast as I can, as fast as my health will allow me. I won't go through the whole thing. Those that are regular Motorsports Unlimited watchers know that I've been through some surgeries lately and all that stuff. But in any event, some things are really important, and some things, quite frankly, I want to get some answers for. We've explained before, Barrett and I are an odd couple. I mean, I know you're probably all too young to remember the odd couple on TV, Felix and Oscar.
Yep.
Well, you're definitely Felix, and I'm definitely Oscar. And he doesn't know what I'm really. People think we hang around together. Believe me, we don't. I've been to his house one time. And I never do this to people, but it was unavoidable. I had no choice. I had to go over there and get some information, so I came unexpected, and I swear it was like walking into a 50s sitcom. It was Donna Reed and Leave It to Beaver all rolled in. The house was immaculate. His wife was gorgeous. The kids were well kept, and they had a new puppy, and they were cutting up vegetables from their garden. Do you remember any of this?
Yes, I do.
My house, you have to step over engine parts to get. So we're an odd couple. However, I try to keep them honest because I've told you the story so many times about how Barrett and I got to know each other and all that sort of thing, and it's not often you have a chance of meeting a person 25, 26, 27 years ago, and they end up being in a position of political leadership. And I know what a quality guy is, not from what he's been doing since he's been mayor, but what he was doing 25, 26 years ago when he was just a law student. And I said to myself, boy, there's a good one. But I want to keep him honest. All of a sudden, I see these streets being paved. The street behind us here, this is Park Street?
Park Street, yep.
But this isn't the only one. There's a bunch of them here that were repaved.
Nope, we paved Lewis Park, Riverside.
Okay.
And Sarah.
Okay. All needed, no question about it.
Oh, yeah.
However, right away, Barrett, in a down economy, what are we doing?
Well,
and this is the cool part. Go ahead.
Oh, Bill, this is really exciting. In 2011, we paved 12 blocks, and using the same amount of money in 2012, we paved 28 blocks. And we did that using a process or a concept called hot in place. And what they do is they come up with a machinery that heats up the existing pavement, as bad as it is. And if you are on Park or Lewis or Sarah or Riverside, you know that these streets were in pretty bad condition. It melts it, and then you add a little bit of the aggregate, the asphalt, with it, and lay it back down, and you get 28 blocks for the cost of 12.
But that's not the important part. We didn't pay for the cost of 12 either. You have found some. Explain how that works.
Well, every municipality has motor fuel tax money, but we've been very successful in getting grants. So we've gotten grants one right after another for Elm Street.
Yeah, but you don't just get them. You have to actually go out and seek them. Am I not correct?
Yeah, they don't fall into your lap. You have to spend a lot of time with people who are influential, state representatives, state senators, county commissioners, and of course the governor, who is just out here today.
That's right, and we're going to show you that. I don't want to talk because we don't have enough time in today's program. We're going to run out of time here. The problem is Barrett and I are both talkers, and we say I need 8 minutes to finish the show, and we end up doing an hour and 8 minutes. We're not going to do that. We're going to get this on the show. But the important thing is that
we've got a lot of streets.
You're passionate about your work.
Love it.
So, like me, nobody has to tell me about the latest thing going on in engine development or chassis development. I know about it because I'm passionate about it. I care about it. You're the same way about municipal government as you put it, right?
We try to do a lot more with a lot less, and
find all these grants. This is important.
And sustainable practices, and that's been good. The governor gave us a $1 million grant for the police station.
Okay. now I want to get something else in here, and again, we're running out of time so quickly, this always happens. He mentioned just casually in the piece that you saw just before this about this Taft Street thing.
Taft Avenue Bridge.
Yeah, Taft. Yeah, listen to this. Taft. I went and looked for it. There's no such thing. I drove all the way up Franklin Avenue. I'm driving up and down. I stopped at that little, I'd forgotten the name of the little restaurant on the corner of Franklin and
Wolfie's.
Wolfie's. I stopped there and I said to the guy, there's one of his citizens going by, and I said to him, where is this Taft? I says, I understand there's a Taft Bridge. He says, well, you can't get there from here.
Well, it's not there yet.
Well, apparently there was something there.
Oh, yeah, there was.
I wanted to find this burned out place and do a piece there.
Well, if you go over to Taft Avenue off of Irving,
Right.
and then take that, instead of taking a right to go into the post office, you take a left, and you go all the way back in that little drive behind the property that we got from the city of
stop.
Chicago.
We're gonna. I don't want to. We're going out
That's
to be
when
out
I
of
get
time.
excited.
I know. But I wanted you to know the important part of this thing is I couldn't find this Taft thing anyway. Here's the deal. Let me put it in residents' language. Everybody knows Manheim Road. Everybody knows York Road. Well, this is going to be another one of those in between the two of them. So all that industrial traffic and that industrial area that is on the west side of Manheim is going to have a straight access to O'Hare Airport. Am I
That's correct.
Okay, now, cooler than that. This is all going to be part of this big project that is the new entrance for 294.
Right.
And
It's called the Elgin O'Hare Western Access.
and we're not talking about a multi-million-dollar project. We're talking about a multi-billion-dollar project that's bringing all kinds of jobs in here, and it's not coming out of Franklin Park taxpayers' monies.
That's the important thing.
That's what I wanted to get that in.
$3.4 billion project. It's going to create 65,000 permanent new jobs, 35,000 construction jobs, 70 acre-feet of stormwater management, and they're going to be rebuilding Franklin Avenue.
And totally rebuilding Franklin Avenue, and it should really relieve that semi-traffic that turns off of Belmont Avenue onto Manheim Road to go to the airport.
Franklin Avenue is going to be 6 lanes wide where the 294 lets off onto Franklin Avenue, or the bypass, and where the bridge starts to go over the railroad tracks.
So if you're like me and you get mad about your taxes, nobody gets more madder about it than I do, and I run to him right away. The cool thing is this is not, first of all, I don't want to talk about this, we don't have time. I learned something else. Franklin Park, when you see your real estate tax bill, that's not Franklin Park real estate tax bill. Franklin Park's only like 17% of it.
Right.
It's just a small part of it.
That's correct.
So we're mad at the wrong people.
Well, everybody's
mad at you.
responsible, but yeah, the village provides the most services to people, and we account for about 18% of the tax bill.
So it's a small part of the tax bill.
A small part.
Okay. I'm sorry. We're going to follow up on this Taft thing. It's really important. It's a real big deal. Bigger deal than I thought it was when I started looking to tell you the story.
The entire project involving the Taft Avenue Bridge is quite a story, and we'll tell it in its entirety on a coming episode of Franklin Park. We mentioned during the interview that we just finished taping Governor Quinn's visit to Franklin Park, and I wanted to give you a peek at what was going on.
Hi, everybody. Well, I'm sorry a little late, but we are very excited about the opportunity here today to expand a business in Franklin Park, and I really want to thank the mayor for his commitment to jobs and business and economic growth. Those are all the things that are important in our state, no matter what town you're in, whether it's Franklin Park or any park in our state of Illinois, any part of Illinois. We want to make sure that we emphasize economic growth and jobs.
Well, that will be coming up on Volume 5 of Franklin Park, but we're out of time on Volume 4, and hope you enjoyed this look at the plans and progress in your village of Franklin Park. I'm Barrett Peterson, Mayor of Franklin Park. Thank you for watching.